How do? Welcome back. Well, I'm going to try something a little bit different today because this isn't anywhere near ready, although the bottle's quite firm. This is the rye beer, and I brewed this. It's coming up for 2 weeks, so it only took about a week, 10 days to ferment. It didn't take long at all because it was only a small 12 litre batch, and it's been in the bottle now only about 3 or 4 days, but it's firmed up quite nicely. But when I was taking a taste from the hydrometer tube, I'm thinking something's not quite right here. So as this has got a little bit firm, I thought I'm just going to open it and just see what it tastes like. But oh, there's a good hiss. It's only been about 3 days. I'll probably pour a bit aggressively. Oh, don't need to. Wow, look at that after just 3 days. It's using USO4 yeast. And that's a nice clear pint. I didn't use any finings either. Nice golden colour. See on the camera there? Nice golden colour. Nice frothy white head. I can't believe this has just been 3 days. Oh, and a lovely rye aroma. I've got the rye spot on with this recipe. And a little bit of like a sweet caramel from the... I used some crystal malt in this. Right, that smells nice. Very spicy aroma. And that's one of the things I've noticed. I've never made a beer with rye before. Just how spicy it is. But anyway, let me take a taste. See if it's like the hydrometer tube. It is. Don't get me wrong though, it still actually tastes quite nice. But it's all the rye. The rye's giving that nice prickliness at the back, little bit of black pepperiness in there. And it's just got a different mouthfeel because of the rye. Medium bodied. There's a nice carbonation coming up the glass. It's non-nucleated, but well, I can't get over that for 3 days. But there's no hops. I'm not tasting any hops. Now, and there's no bitterness at the back end. There's a sense of it, but it's mostly coming from that sort of like that pepperiness at the back of the throat. I use Simcoe and I use Citra, and I bought them fresh from the wholesaler. Retailer, online store. They were, I think they were last year's crop, or maybe the year before, 2021 at the latest. And I used a good amount. I used Simcoe for bittering, and then I used Simcoe and Citra as a flavour, or at Whirlpool. Maybe I think I used Simcoe and then Simcoe and Citra as a Whirlpool. So 2 editions of Simcoe. But I can't taste them. Now, and I used quite a bit. Now, what's interesting is I've just got fermenting now an English bitter, which is also going to be for the book. Using Challenger as a bittering, and then for flavour at 15 minutes left I used the Citra, the same Citra. And then what I'm going to do, there's no Whirlpool, no hop stand, I'm going to dry hop tomorrow again with some of the Citra and First Gold, because I think them 2 flavours will marry well, the citrusiness of the Citra and that orangey marmalade sort of flavour from the First Gold. So I'm going to use those 2 hops tomorrow to dry hop. But what I've noticed when I've taken a taste from the hydrometer tube, it's a lovely citra flavour to it. So I'm thinking, well, why is there no citra in here? Because apart from the rye, the 2 recipes aren't that dissimilar. They both used, dry malt extract. They had steeping grains, this had rye, but they both had crystalline. I'm using a similar amount of hops. So why am I not picking up, well, at least the citra in this? Is it that the rye's too strong and it's masking it? I can't know. 2 completely different flavours. The only variable I can sort of like boil this down to is this was brewed using the hop spider, and the bitter was brewed with hop socks and just thrown in, and they would be bouncing around all over the place as it was boiling away. This was in a hop spider, and I'm just getting nowhere near the efficiency from a hop spider as I would just throwing them in. I used the hop spider because I couldn't find the hop socks. But then I found them later, so I could use them for the bitter. But I've noticed this before with that hop spider, that I just do not seem to get the efficiency from hops. I don't know why. Because a lot of people on YouTube use these hop spiders and they seem to be okay, unless they have to put a lot more hops in to try and counter it. But I'm thinking I'm never going to be using that hop spider again. Always make sure I know where the hop socks are before I start weighing out all the hops. Always make sure I've bought some in stock. But I mean, I'll be honest, the rye does give it a nice flavour, so it's not a bad beer in that sense. It's a nice flavour to it. There's some spiciness there, some pepperiness. That gives it a sort of like a bittery dry finish at the back end. But there's definitely no hops in this. There's no isomerization. There's no bitterness, that you get from the hops at the back. There's nothing. There's no citra. And yet, I use that citra the very next week in another brew, and it's beautiful and citrusy. So that can be the only variable. That really can be the only variable. I'll tell you what, when I first tried it, it took a bit of getting used to. The rye, that punch of, a spicy rye, but it's actually quite nice. So yeah, I don't know if you've experienced any difference. If you do boils and you've used a hop spider, if you've noticed any difference between using a spider and using hop socks and just let them go wherever they want, in the kettle or the saucepan as it's boiling away. That's the way I'm going to do it in the future. I'm just going to, I don't know, just use that hop spider as an ornament or something, or as a filter if I'm pouring into, I want to catch some matter or something like that. I don't know, but I won't be using it for boiling hops, because for some reason the flavour just gets trapped in the bottom. And when I look at the bottom of the hop spider, it is very compact at the bottom. When you take it out after brew day and you look, there's like this compact mash at the bottom. Whether you have to keep stirring it round, I don't know, because from what I've seen on YouTube, you just throw them in. Now maybe you've got to keep stirring it, and that's the reason, because it sort of like mushes together at the bottom. And of course, the water's not getting, or the wort's not getting to the centre. It's just a little bit on the outside that's actually, you know, going into the beer, and then once you've topped it up, you've got nothing left. You've diluted it away. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe you've got to keep stirring it. I don't know, to be honest. But I do know it clumps up into like a thick puck of hop at the bottom of the hop spider. Maybe that's what did it. But I'm not going to risk another beer to try and find out. I'll just use hop socks. Anyway, there you go. Quick video. I must admit, I'm really enjoying this though. This is a really nice. It's got, like I say, when you first try it, it's like, whoa, you get a bit of a hit of the rye. But then once your mouth's got used to it, it's a really nice pale ale, to be honest. US04. In 3 days it was carbed. And I've kept it during carbonation at around about 20 degrees. Basically, I've got a milk crate. I just put the bottles in a milk crate, fits 20, and then I just put the crate on top of a brew mat. And then put like a blanket over it, and I use my temperature gauge. Just put the probe inside, just to make sure that it keeps to around about 20 degrees. And 3 days later, I've got a beer. Fantastic! Right, that's me sorted for the weekend. Because even without the hops, it's still a pleasant beer because of that rye. Anyway, thanks for watching. I just thought I'd experiment with this, and it's worked out really well. Let me know though in the comments if you've tried a hop spider and you've noticed any difference in hop utilisation, both for isomerisation and for flavour and aroma. Because yeah, I'm thinking that's the only variable that was different, so it must be something to do with the spider. And if you do use a spider, do you actually keep stirring it to keep everything in suspension? That could well have been my mistake. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. I'm going to enjoy this. Bye bye for now.